Ever felt like you're caught in the middle of a vanishing act? Yes, you heard that right. Imagine this. You're at a magic show, right? The magician pulls out a rabbit from a hat, and voila, the crowd goes wild. Now imagine you're the rabbit. One moment, you're comfortably nestled in the hat. The next, you're thrust into a room full of applause. But here's the twist. The magician, instead of showing you off, starts to slowly tuck you back into the hat. That's what we call slow fading in relationships. It's like you're the rabbit, and your partner is the magician who's losing interest. One day, you're out and about, feeling the wind in your fur. The next, you're back in the hat, wondering what went wrong. One moment, you're basking in the limelight. The next, you're left in the dark. And the worst part? You can't figure out why you're back in the hat. Now, we've all been there, right? The rabbit in the hat situation. It starts with them taking a little longer to reply to your messages. Then they start canceling plans. Before you know it, they've disappeared, like a puff of smoke. But here's the thing. You're not a rabbit, and they're certainly not a magician. Let's face it, relationships can be a lot like a magic show. One moment, it's fireworks and grand gestures. The next, it's smoke and mirrors. But remember, you're not just part of the act. You're not just the rabbit who's left wondering why you're back in the hat. Slow fading, ghosting, benching, breadcrumbing. Sounds like a magician's dictionary, doesn't it? But these are real situations that people face in relationships. And as much as we'd love to play the disappearing act ourselves sometimes, it's important to remember that we're not in a magic show. We're in reality. So the next time you find yourself caught in a slow fade, just remember, you're not the rabbit that needs to be pulled out of a hat. Now let's talk about the infamous ghosting. It's like a horror movie, but without the fun popcorn and jump scares. Ghosting, my friends, is the art of disappearance. It's the vanishing act that leaves you with a popcorn bucket full of confusion and a 3D glass view of nothingness. Imagine this. One moment you're laughing over shared memes, discussing your all-time favorite Friends episode, or planning a weekend getaway. And then, poof, they're gone, vanished into thin air, like a superhero with super invisibility powers. Now, if only we had a Ghostbusters squad for this kind of situation, right? But alas, all we're left with is the eerie silence of unanswered texts and the hollow echo of unreturned calls. And the worst part? It's like they've taken a vow of silence at some secret ghosting monastery. No explanations, no closure, just radio silence. It's like being left in the middle of a gripping novel with the last pages ripped out. You're left wondering, did they find another Ross to their Rachel? Or did they just decide to move to a remote island, leaving civilization behind? But let's add a dash of humor to this ghostly tale. Picture this, you're engaging in a riveting conversation about whether pineapple belongs on pizza. You're pro-pineapple, they're anti-pineapple. The debate is heating up, and then silence. You're left hanging, pizza slice in hand, wondering if your pineapple topping was the last straw. It's a perplexing phenomenon, this ghosting business. It's maddening, it's frustrating, and let's be honest, it's a little bit funny when you look back at it. Because when you strip away the layers of confusion, it's essentially a grown adult playing a game of hide and seek without telling you the game has begun. So, what's the takeaway from our ghostly encounters? Well, it's simple. You're not a part-time detective, and your job isn't to chase shadows. You're a full-time, amazing individual. And if someone decides to pull a Houdini on you, remember, it's their loss, not yours. But hey, who needs a superhero when you're already super, right? Scene script. Ever been benched? No, I don't mean in a sports game. I mean in the game of love. Picture this. You're standing in a never-ending queue at the grocery store. You have your items in hand, ready to check out, but the cashier seems to be moving in slow motion. The folks in front of you have carts piled high, and you're stuck behind them, waiting for your turn that never seems to come. That, my friends, is what being benched feels like in the realm of love. Benching, as it's called, is when someone you're interested in keeps you in their romantic rotation, but never quite brings you up to bat. You're not out of the game, but you're not playing either. You're just there, warming the bench and waiting for your name to be called. And while you're sitting there, waiting, they're off playing the field. They might pop by occasionally, toss you a hello or a half-hearted compliment to keep you interested. It's like being given a ticket for a thrill ride, but instead, you're stuck on the merry-go-round, going in circles and getting nowhere fast. It's like they've got you on a fishing line. They reel you in, let you out, reel you in again, and just when you think you're about to reach the shore, they let you out once more. It's a dizzying dance of hope and disappointment. But here's the kicker. Being benched is not about your worth. It's not about your attractiveness or your value, it's about them, their indecision, their inability to commit. So if you find yourself benched, remember this: you are not a loaf of bread waiting to be picked up from the shelf. You're not some backup plan or a second choice. You're the main event, the star player. You're worth more than sporadic messages and half-hearted attempts at connection. Don't settle for the bench when you deserve to be in the game. Don't let anyone keep you in limbo. Claim your worth, assert your value, and step up to the plate. But remember, you're not a loaf of bread waiting to be picked up. Now let's talk about breadcrumbing. And no, this isn't about making a delicious casserole. Breadcrumbing is more like when your GPS keeps recalculating the route. You thought you were on a straight path to a committed relationship, but suddenly you're stuck in a roundabout of mixed signals. You're not lost per se, but you're definitely not getting anywhere fast. It's like you're in a relationship version of a hamster wheel. You're given just enough affection to keep you spinning, but not enough to actually move forward. Now, imagine you're Hansel or Gretel in the modern dating world, and instead of breadcrumbs, you're following a trail of sporadic texts, inconsistent likes on your social media posts, and the occasional flirty comment. But every time you think you're getting closer to the gingerbread house, or in our case, a solid relationship, the trail goes cold. You might be thinking, well, at least they're reaching out occasionally, right? But let's be real here. If they were genuinely interested, wouldn't they just say so? Instead, it feels more like you're in a game of hide and seek where you're always it, and they found the world's best hiding spot. Breadcrumbing can be baffling, frustrating, and frankly, it can feel a bit like being played. You're left second-guessing every interaction, wondering if you're overthinking or not thinking enough. But here's the kicker. You're not a detective, and this isn't a mystery to be solved. So the next time you find yourself on the trail of breadcrumbs, remember this: you're not a homing pigeon, meant to follow a scattered path of mixed signals. You're not a GPS system, endlessly recalculating the route to someone else's mixed-up destination. You're a person with your own destination, your own path, and your own worth. You don't need to follow breadcrumbs to find your way. After all, breadcrumbs are meant for birds, and darling, you were meant to soar. But remember, you're not a GPS system. You're a person with your own destination. Now, these terms might sound like a roller coaster ride, and trust me, they are. Buckle up, folks, because we're about to dive headfirst into the whirlwind world of modern relationships. Picture this. You're seated on the roller coaster of love. The safety bar of certainty is nowhere in sight, and the ride operator looks suspiciously like your last Tinder date. You see, this isn't your grandmother's love story. It's more like a topsy-turvy, roundabout, sometimes upside-down journey, where slow fading, ghosting, benching, and breadcrumbing are the loops and turns that leave you dizzy, disoriented, and maybe a little nauseated. It's like being in a carnival funhouse, where the mirrors distort everything, except it's your emotions on the line, and there's no cotton candy to make up for it. And let's not forget the emotional whiplash from the sudden drops. One moment you're soaring high, the wind of budding romance in your hair, and the next, you're plunging into the abyss of uncertainty. It's enough to make anyone's head spin. The sporadic highs and lows can be quite the adrenaline rush, but there's also the creeping sense of unease, like the anticipation of a drop that never comes, or worse, a drop you never saw coming. It's the thrill of the chase, the uncertainty, the waiting for the other shoe, or in this case, the roller coaster car, to drop. And let's not even get into the loops. Oh, the loops. They're like those endless cycles of hope and disappointment, where just when you think things are looking up, you're thrown for another spin. It's like a merry-go-round of mixed signals, except it's not so merry, and you're not sure when or how to get off. But here's the thing about roller coasters: they're not for everyone. Some people love the thrill, the unpredictability. Others, not so much. And that's okay, because in the end, it's your ride. You get to decide when to buckle up and when to step off. But remember, you don't need to buy a ticket to this roller coaster. After all, who needs a roller coaster when you can be the architect of your own love story? Now that's a ride worth taking. But guess what? You're not a magician's assistant, a ghost, a loaf of bread, or a roller coaster rider. You're you, and that's pretty amazing. Now that's a thought to wrap your head around, isn't it? Remember when you were a kid and you'd wander wide-eyed through a museum, gazing at all the priceless artifacts? Well, let's say you're one of those artifacts. Yeah, that's right. You're a relic of immense worth, not a clearance sale item. Let's paint a picture, shall we? Imagine you're a beautiful, ancient vase, priceless, unique, and irreplaceable. Now, would that vase ever question its worth because of a clumsy museum visitor who accidentally knocks it over? No way! The vase knows its value. It's the visitor's loss if they fail to appreciate it. So why should we question our worth based on someone else's inconsistency? It's like letting a blind man dictate the colors of a sunset. Absurd, right? Your worth isn't tied to someone's inability to see your value. And love, my dear friends, isn't about constantly trying to fit into someone else's narrative. It's about mutual respect, genuine effort, and shared vulnerability. Let's take a moment to laugh at the absurdity of it all. It's like trying to squeeze into a pair of jeans 2 sizes too small because they're on trend. It's uncomfortable, and let's be honest, it doesn't look good on anyone. So as you navigate through the shadows of uncertainty, remember, your value isn't determined by someone else's actions or lack thereof. You're like that ancient vase, priceless, unique, and irreplaceable. It's time to reclaim your light. Step away from the shadows and let your inner glow shine. And here's a little secret. The more you value yourself, the more others will too. It's like a law of the universe or something. So hold your head high and strut your stuff with the confidence of a peacock in full bloom. So next time someone tries to make you feel less than, remember, you're a priceless artifact, not a clearance sale item. So let's redefine what it means to truly connect and love. And no, it's not by sending ambiguous emojis. You know how in the culinary world, there's this big difference between fast food and a well-cooked meal? Let's just say, love is a lot like that. Fast food love is all about convenience. It's quick, easy, and requires little effort. It's like texting at 2 in the morning, "You up?" or sending a heart-eyed emoji because, well, words are too much effort, right? On the other hand, a well-cooked meal, that's genuine love. It's thoughtfully prepared, savored, and most importantly, shared. It's like a long, heartfelt conversation that stretches into the night, or a simple text in the middle of a busy day just to say, "I'm thinking of you." It's a shared vulnerability, an honest, "I miss you," a sincere, "I'm sorry," and a passionate, "I love you." In this world of instant gratification, it's easy to settle for the fast food version of love. It's quick, it's easy, it's right there, just a swipe away. But remember, it leaves you feeling empty and craving something more substantial. So how do we foster this kind of gourmet love? It starts with mutual respect, understanding, and genuine effort. It's about being present, being real, and being there for each other. It's about cherishing the little moments, celebrating the big ones, and navigating the tough ones together. It's not about playing games or leaving breadcrumbs for someone to follow. It's about being honest with your feelings and being brave enough to express them. It's about letting go of the fear of rejection and embracing the possibility of connection. It's about realizing that love is not a power play, but a partnership. And remember, it's okay to have standards. It's okay to want a well-cooked meal instead of settling for fast food. It's okay to want genuine connections, deep conversations, and real love. Because let's be real, who wants fast food when they can have a gourmet meal?